We don't show prep. So, so he had no idea.
I just barely make it in.
I'm sure you can tell, but we don't show.
I mean, let's put the cards down on the table here.
Miami Hurricanes, yeah. You know the name already. It's Mercy, ha ha. It's a 6-Rig Kane show. Can't forget the name though. Got Jazz, Blue, Vision, DJ break the game code. Ain't no changing them, ain't no breaking them. Real Portland live from the Hard Rock Stadium. Ball 14 for the orange and green. We see the 6-Rig champs. It's more than a dream. This is life on the field. Beyond 100 yards, a hurricane that's never still put a damage to your squad. The 6-Rig Kane show. The 6-Rig Kane show. The 6-Rig Kane show. You know.
What's wrong with us? Seriously.
What's wrong with us? We're Miami Hurricanes fans.
Welcome to the 6-Rig Kane Show, a show dedicated to Miami Hurricane sports, featuring the legendary Larry Bluestein, Jazz Santana, Vish, and Danny Gillette. Let's go Canes.
Hi. Welcome back, everybody. But before we even get to anything, you know what I noticed in that last little bit there that we say, what's wrong with us? We're Miami Hurricanes fans. Not an ounce of gray hair on my beard. I was all dark brown, man. Where has the time gone?
I mean, we've been doing this show a long time, man. We've been doing this show 5 years.
This is what the Canes do to you, right? They make you gray, dude. Look at this.
Yeah,
Unbelievable, man. Now, what are you gonna do? Anyways, sorry about that, but welcome back to the 6-Rig Kane show. As you can see, the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse are back here.
Apocalypse for Notre Dame.
Yeah. There it is. 41 days, Vish. 41 days, but who's counting?
Is it? I should do the math because you ask every time, and I've never done the math. But
can you believe it? 41
also
days?
Say 41, so I'm gonna go with it. 41 sounds like a good number. So, oh man, Blue, how are you, my friend? It's good to see you again, brother.
Yeah, extremely busy.
But to talk about with you in just a bit, and we're gonna talk about the big uglies in the front 6, the front 7, whatever you want to call them. Miami has some of the best in the country up there, and we're definitely gonna break them down a little bit before the night is over. So you guys stick around for that. But before we get to that, let's give a shout out to our sponsor. It is You Brake Wheel Fix. Have you ever run over a pothole so hard your steering wheel starts to shake? Are you constantly losing air in your tires that you need to keep adding air? Chances are there's an issue with your wheels, and You Brake Wheel Fix is your solution. You Brake Wheel Fix is Miami's premier wheel repair and restoration company. With over 20 years of experience and located in North Miami, You Brake Wheel Fix offers quick repairs for damaged wheels, and in most cases can offer free loaner wheels to help you stay on the road while they repair your damaged wheels. If your wheels are looking weathered and it's time to freshen up your car, don't replace, refinish. Their in-house wheel refinishing solutions, such as powder coating, machining, and polishing, will give your car the light new look it deserves. So contact Mark and his staff at 305-748-0112 or on any social media outlet at You Brake Wheel Fix. That's the letter U, Brake Wheel Fix, and mention 5 Reasons Sports and get 5.5% off your next repair. You Brake Wheel Fix powder coating and wheel repair. Contact Mark 305-748-0112. Check them out. All right. So, yeah, some interesting stuff. I know, I know some Kings fans are a little bit disappointed about some recruiting news that happened this weekend, and we'll talk about that a little bit. Look, listen, it's still early, right? Signing day is in December. Take it with a grain of salt. What happens now with some of these names, but we'll get into it. We'll get into it in just a second. But before that, some good news for the Miami Hurricanes. Well, we thought maybe, hey, we will we might have everything slow down here. Oh, yeah. We might have some recruiting slowdowns here. We've got a really nice recruit committing to the Miami Hurricanes this past week, and Somourian Wingo, a big time wide receiver from St. Augustine. And to be honest with you, man, I looked at this kid and I said, this kid's got the size already. He looks like he's one of those kids that can come in and put some pressure on the guys in front of him coming in the 2026 season. We'll start off with you, Vish. What do you like about Somourian Wingo, and what do you think he can bring to Miami? I know that now we've got a nice little wide receiver group with Spafford, with Tyron Evans, and now Somourian Wingo joining the group.
Yeah, no, it's another, again, I think, Spafford's a little different because he's a speed guy, but they've been focused on size. I think it was one, thing that was not really there last year. And I think it's a concerted effort to get just bigger at the wide receiver position. And this is just leaning into that quality prospect. Again, size, he'll be able to play him on the outside and catches the ball well with his hands from what I saw, which is big when you're big. So yeah, I think he's a weapon. And that's why they recruited him. Again, I think he's definitely an outside receiver, and yeah, excited to see him on campus. It's a big get, like you said. Momentum had slowed a little bit, and it was important also to keep that going here with this one.
DJ, this kid, what I see is size. I see some length. I see him, as Vish said, obviously an outside guy that can spread the field a little bit because he is pretty quick, but he's got great hands, right? I see some of the catches that he's making in some of these practices or some of these games that they're showing the highlights of. But I like his size more than anything else. Vish mentioned there not a lot of size in this wide receiver class recently. I think Josh Moore, obviously a big guy, a 6'4" kid. That's the kind of wide receiver that they're starting to recruit a little bit better, and bring in some of your speedsters and your inside guys like Spafford and whatnot. But Evans, Wingo, those kind of guys, size, speed, possession, right? Go up and get it. What do you like about Wingo's game?
I like Wingo and the ability that he has to get jump balls. He's a multi-sport athlete. He plays basketball as well. And to me, that says a lot because it just shows how vertical he can get and how he can kind of use that on the football field. I watched a little bit of his tape earlier today, and he's not necessarily going to beat you with his quickness, but he can beat you with his athleticism, which could make him a good red zone threat. That's not to say he's slow by any means, but when I saw him, I saw more of a physical jump ball type of receiver as opposed to your straight speedster. So I think he'll bring that to Miami. And like you guys alluded to, his height and, his size make him, that kind of receiver. And although he may sort of not be the fastest, he's a good route runner with good hands. So that certainly makes up for it there.
Blue, I want to finish off Wingo's tape, I guess, quote unquote tape per se with you. But I see a kid, we talk about the Calvin Russells of the world and some of these other big time wide receivers that are out there that are 5 stars and 4 stars. Now, Wingo is a 4-star blue chip kid. But my thing is, he looks like a kid that has already got that body type that can come in. He's already kind of developed. He has, the route running down. He can go after the ball and get it at a high point, right? He is, by the way, he's a basketball guy as well, right? He's a kid who plays basketball at St. Augustine as well. Obviously, he's probably gonna, just play football here, but another kid that can high point a ball, right? Those type of things, but that has the body to come in and start competing right away. Whereas maybe a kid like a Calvin Russell, no knock on him, but still needs to develop, right? Long frame, skinny frame, 2-sport athlete, but doesn't necessarily have the development that maybe a guy like Wingo does already. Do you like that? What else do you see that Miami can really benefit from bringing in Somourian Wingo?
Well, first of all, I've seen him live since he was in 9th grade. Lachlan Hewitt, who is their quarterback, who's at USF now, had told me a lot about him. And when he was in 10th grade, 10th grade, and told me there's a kid right there. He actually, when we saw him at a 7-on-7, the other two receivers who were highly recruited, one's at Clemson, I think one's at Florida now, that played on that St. Augustine team, I think Florida. And he told me, he says, kid we got here is just going to be as good. He's going to grow. Not a burner, like DJ said, but he's got great athletes, got great hands. He's a track kid, a 400-meter type kid. I watched him. Actually, I watched him 2-3 weeks ago at a 7-on-7. He gets off the press pretty well, because especially in 7-on-7 where they don't call anything. The guys who were covering were trying to hold on to him. He'll get away. He'll separate a little bit because he's a good route runner. That's the thing. Sometimes when you don't have blazing speed, if you run good patterns, you make up the difference. And just to be honest, whether Russell signed here or not, two different receivers. Russell's not a receiver. He's just a work in progress. This kid's a receiver. I mean, he's worked at the craft. There's a difference when you're 6'4", 6'5", and you don't have to really work hard at the craft. You're already up there. Someone throws you the ball. You don't have to work real hard to get it. But at the next level in the ACC, somebody like a Russell's going to understand that you're going to have to learn how to run pass patterns and not just amble out there and just say, hey, look, I'm 6'4", 6'5", throw me the ball. Because you're going to have guys like a Zachary Poyser who'll cut your ass down in a second. And, you just got to learn. And I think this kid Wingo, I was really extremely surprised when he made his decision because I never really thought that he was spending a lot of time, looking at Miami. Miami hasn't had a great past with St. Augustine kids. So, these kid's going to fit in really well. He's the reason why he's going to pass a lot of people by is because of his work ethic, because of the coaching that he had in high school, really good coaching, guys who work with him, guys that, taught him a lot. So, great fit for Miami. I think he's one of the marquee pieces that they have. As you know, I don't pay much attention to stars because they're made by guys that never see anybody. So other than film, so DJ can make a star and I'll believe him first.
Yeah, I would believe him too. I'd believe him if he put any star next to a tight end.
Yeah. I mean, hey, tight ends rank high in my book. I don't know what to say.
But if you listen to DJ just now, he pretty much had what Somourian is down to a T. Never gonna burst you with his speed, but he's got great hands and he runs really good patterns. And before you know it, he's standing in the end zone. So I'll go with that evaluation.
I appreciate that coming from you, Blue. I mean, really. But I mean, with Somouri, when you're not a speedster, you have to run good routes and be able to run your pass patterns and be able to be kind of confined and solid in the way you run the routes, and he can do that. So it makes up for his lack of speed. He's not slow by any means, but not a burner.
Yeah, I mean, you got a burner, right, Vish? You got him in Van Spafford.
Yeah. You got him.
Tyron Evans has got some speed, and you got some guys here now that can blow right by guys. So I'm not too concerned about that. But I just think it's funny, it's the talk of Miami not being able to get some big time guys. And look, we just took
the number one player in the country.
We just took another kid from SEC territory, Vish, right? Like that's a big get, right? A kid like Blue mentioned. St. Augustine, we don't have a lot of luck in St. Augustine area, Jacksonville area. We're starting to do some things there. But look, at the end of the day, and I want to throw this to you, Vish, really quick, and we'll end here on Wingo. But for me, again, it's not about getting a really good player or in the Tri-County area. Oh my God, that's all we need to stay focused on. We need to stay focused on making sure that the kid from West Palm Beach or from Broward County doesn't leave. For all, I'm sorry, but F that, right? Like, go get a Wingo. Go get a Wingo that's going to outwork, out-hustle, outplay a guy, potentially like a Calvin Russell, number one. Number two, and again, this is not a knock on South Florida. but the coaching is at an elite level in Central and North Florida, and in other places in the country. Those kids are ready to play, right? It's not only about skill and about just pure raw talent that a guy like a guy that's 6'5" is going to go up and jump and get the ball like Blue says. But Vish, your thought process on get whoever is the best player out there that wants to play for Miami. Forget about the South, locking down South Florida. Go get the best players, get guys up in your system, and develop them and get them to do great things here in Miami. How do you feel about that? Is that something that you're kind of like focused on as well, or do you think you got to lock down South Florida before anything else?
Well, I mean, I'd be concerned for ignoring South Florida. We're not. No one's locking down South Florida in 2025. There's too many kids. There's too many people down here. It's not realistic. This is not the 1970s and 80s where like you wouldn't leave your home area to recruit and you could actually do something like that. And, kind of laying into, I know Bagging Up 4 has got some concerns about the, getting maybe more complete, I think is probably a better way of saying it. Someone that's big and game breaking, can play on all three levels. JoJo Trader is that guy. We don't have anyone in this class right now. Still, like Jazzy said, like we're way away from signing day, but Jeremiah Smiths don't grow on trees. And so I don't, yes, we'd love to have him on campus right now. He's not. I do think JoJo Trader is that guy on this roster that is going to be a problem and a complete receiver that people are going to have to cover everywhere. But yeah, to your point, Jazz, you cannot, first of all, you're not going to get enough kids in South Florida just from South Florida to win. It's too many of them are going to leave. Some of them because they just want to get out, which, not everyone wants to stay. Some of them for other reasons, like we have not been, we haven't won the ACC. We haven't won the conference in 20 years. And so, I mean, again, we do have one. JoJo Trader's definitely, again, he didn't play a lot last year because we had depth in front of him, but he's in that category with all the guys you're saying we're missing on. And you're going to see that in a month. You're on mute, Jazz.
Sorry about that, but we didn't miss on Justin Scott last year, did we?
Yeah.
We got him. We got, as you mentioned, we got JoJo Trader. This year we got Jackson. But last year we got some of the best players at multiple positions. So
yeah, and look, if you're going to say we're behind Ohio State in receiver recruiting, everyone is. They're a machine.
Yep.
From high school to college to the NFL is just pipelining through. So,
and the truth is, LSU has put multiple guys in the NFL wide receiver.
Yeah.
So of course, a lot of guys are going to want to go there. I totally get that. So you're going to land guys here and there. You're going to get some blue chip guys. You're going to get some 5-star guys. You still need to continue to win, continue to win, and more guys will start popping off if you want the blue chip guy that's going to win you a national title every single time. No one person alone is going to do that. So I think that you just need to continue to build a team. Before Ohio State won the national title, it was 10 years before they had won another one. So it's not like it happens every single year. Nobody's Alabama anymore. Nobody is Georgia. Even Georgia's not Georgia anymore, right? Like you're gonna see. I'm not saying a drop off, but you're gonna see more parity, more teams being able to compete, and it's just the nature of what's going on now in football.
Yeah, and there are game breakers on our team. Like there's also Malachi Toney's there. There's game breakers here. It's just we just we got to win more consistently.
Hey, we developed Restrepo into one of the best wide receivers in the country. I know that he's not the Jeremiah Smith that everybody wants, but put him on the field with anybody on any team, and he's a starting wide receiver. I don't care what anybody says in college football. So, it is what it is. Anyways,
a couple of comments here. Yeah, thanks for the shout out.
Thank you.
Yep. And then we did corners 2 shows ago, so go check that out. We're doing the defensive front today.
I was gonna say that. Yeah.
But most definitely OJ Frederick.
What does Pip Down say here? Is this?
Yeah. So maybe Blue, you want to talk about this? Maybe Blue will be a good person to address this with his roots here, but is there an issue with us keeping kids home? Do you have concern?
Yeah, well, think about this. When Miami was running the whole country for years and years and years, they were still losing Steve Hutchinson, Hall of Famer, Isaac Bruce, Hall of Famer. I can go on and on and on. They're always going to lose kids. And I ran down yesterday, when was it? Saturday, on a national show of the 11 top kids from South Florida, why they went other places. And the only other, I ran every single one and gave them a reason why. Diabel Miami was never on. Don't tell me who they were, because I have 100% no, they were never on him. The only kid was Campbell. They got him from the beginning, and hopefully they can keep on him. But every single kid that came out of South Florida that went somewhere else, there was a reason. Either Miami wasn't on him, or they just, weren't on him enough. The only kid that kind of stung, and from what I understand, the reason why that Derrek Cooper went to Texas, obviously, besides his parents got a brand new home, besides all that stuff, is the very fact that he was promised that he was the only running back in the class. How big of a miss?
Perfect segue, Blue, to Derrek Cooper.
Well, first of all, I mean, he was promised at Texas he'd be the only running back recruited, and that's fine. Miami got another one, Mallory. If you've never seen him play, and all the Hurricane fans who sit on these damn boards and never go to a goddamn thing and always tell everybody how good everybody is when they've never seen him play, believe me. Derrek Cooper was nobody. So 11 months ago, 0 stars, 0. Not one person in any of the 24/7s or On 3 had ever heard of him. Not one person. Okay, he was a backup running back at Cardinal Gibbons. He made his move to Chaminade, went to a rivals camp, started catching balls out of the backfield, and right there he was a 2-star, became a 4-star, and then within 11 months he became a 5-star. The fastest guy that ever became a 5-star. So Miami never had a chance to recruit him early on. So really you could take him out of the mix of somebody that Miami lost, because they really didn't lose him. If Miami had the chance to start recruiting him as a 9th grader, like they are with a lot of the other kids, like they did with Javion Mallory, they would have a better chance. But right now, it's just a different type of atmosphere. And for Miami fans to just kind of say that Miami's not getting anybody, that they just don't know football. Sorry. Miami's got some.
Also, just to touch on Derrek Cooper, and I hate to cut you off, but it's funny you mentioned that, there's sometimes there's just nothing you can do. The kids
100%.
Somewhere else. The kids
100%.
I mean, he visited Miami 9 times. There's a stat up that shows that he visited Miami 9 times, Georgia 8 times, I think Tennessee like 4 or 5 times, right? Like it shows that he didn't visit Texas at all, which is a crock of shit. Excuse my language, because obviously he has.
He has.
It doesn't necessarily mean it was an official visit, but the guy's been to Texas a few times. It's hard to say no to the University of Texas as well.
Jazz, you're a 1,000,000,000% right. It's just one of those things, okay? It happened, because there's a lot of people crying of the kids that Miami got that they were supposed to go to other schools, and there's other places. Do I feel that he's a 5-star? I think he's an inflated 5-star. I do. I think he's a linebacker at the next level. He's John Beeson all over again, I think. I talked to a couple of guys that played, and they agree. I do agree. He's an inflated. He's 3-4-star guy. He's great, good, really good football player. But listen, as a running back, I'd much rather right now have Javion Mallory. I would. He's played the ball. He's played that damn thing since he was like 7 years old. Okay. And I know that Cooper's played since youth football, but him as a freshman and sophomore got hardly any touches at Gibbons. He was behind one of the coach's sons, who was a senior, and he got no touches. And those are valuable time. So if you want to start saying he's the best running back in the country, you can say whatever you want. I don't agree. He's a great football player, and he's going to develop into an awesome player. He's got great size. But to me, if you put Javion Mallory and him together right now as a running back, it's not even close. Javion's been playing this position for a long, long time at a high level since a freshman year and getting a lot of looks from everybody as a freshman. So Yeah, I just get very angry the way I am now because I'm tired of reading people saying all this stuff about Miami lost this kid, Miami should have gotten that. But why? I mean, there's a reason why everybody. And why didn't we get Diabell? Because you were never on him. And Diabell really was not a Miami type of quarterback. He's not Miami's. He's not, in that type of scheme. Right. Now, I got a chance over the weekend to see Darian Coleman and talk to Darian. I was at the Orlando Media Days. They had 111 teams in 3 days, and got a chance to talk to Reese Woodard. I got a picture of him, Alex Dono ate lunch with him at his parents' hamburger place. And so I just, I get to the point where you look at the talent that Miami has, and for everybody bitching and moaning that Miami lost this guy, there's a lot of places that are bitching and moaning that they didn't get a lot of the kids Miami got too. So, it's a give and take type of thing. Miami's 8th or 7th or whatever they are for a reason and recruiting because they've got some really, really good kids. Are there question marks? Yeah, but there's question mark. I look at Alabama. There's 3-4 guys on there that I cross and I say, what the hell? They don't belong on that.
Listen. Alabama. If Alabama gets a 3-star, everybody goes crazy over there too. All right. This is how. Look, perfect example is this guy banging up here in the chat that obviously he's negative Nancy all the way through and through, no matter what. He's going to complain about every single thing. Like you mentioned, Blue, number 8 in the country. Georgia's complaining that we flipped 2 guys from them, right? Nobody's talking about how we flipped 2 guys from the SEC from Georgia. Nobody's talking about how we just got the number 1 player. Everybody seems to forget that we got the number 1 player in the country out of Missouri.
That 98 schools wanted. 98 schools wanted that kid.
Another SEC country guy that we just pulled. With some people, you just can't win no matter what. It doesn't matter.
But concentrate on the Somourian Wingos and guys like that you did pull in and guys who are going to help out quite a bit. Just like last year, everyone's bitching and moaning about Buchanan and Campbell and Wilkins. Oh, they're 3 stars. Listen, they're developing very well right now. So you know what? It's all about what you do when you get on. And that's the one thing I told you when Mario Cristobal got the job and I had a meeting with him. And the one thing that he asked me, what do you think's wrong? Because he said, from afar, I see they get this kid and that kid. I said, they don't develop talent. And he told me flat out, that's not going to happen under this regime. So let's see what happens. That's all I say.
Yeah, we'll see. Obviously, they have the best offensive line development, coaching staff, whatever you want to call it, in the country. Bar none. I know that there's there's question marks about some other position coaches and some other positions, but I think Kevin Beard has done a pretty good job of developing some wide receivers. I think he'll continue to do that. I think Coach Merritt at the running back position was able to really help Mark Fletcher and some other guys get to that next level. And I think that what we have to do is just continue to stack talent, continue to work on developing some guys. I think bringing in Damian Lewis is a really big get from a developmental standpoint. I think he can do some big things with some of the defensive linemen. And again, in return, like it's going to be hard to pull a lot of these defensive, tackles and defensive ends from SEC country when those guys are just turning them over to the NFL like nothing, like clockwork, right? You got to start winning and competing at that level in order to get some of those guys too. You're going to land 1 or 2 of them, right? It's a numbers game here, folks. A lot of people are complaining about we let so many guys go from here. You can only get so many kids. Okay, number 1. Number 2, 50% or more of those kids that leave the state or that go to other schools or that get recruited turn out not to develop, not to be much anyways, right? So we're complaining about taking kids, not taking enough kids from South Florida or letting this one go or letting that one go. It's not about letting this one go and about letting that one go. There's only so many guys you can get from one specific spot. To be honest with you, if I'm a coach, I might not recruit so many guys at certain positions down in South Florida because they don't push those guys out like offensive linemen or quarterbacks even, or some of the skill position you can get them all day. There's so many skill position kids down here, running backs and wide receivers and whatnot. But so in cornerbacks and those type of guys. But when you talk about the big uglies, you got to go elsewhere. You got to try to get some of the other guys. Hence Anthony Kennedy over at Arkansas. Hence Jackson Cowell over at Missouri. Hence Reese Woodrow and the list goes on and on and on. So I think that we're gonna sit here and complain about every single guy that we don't get, as opposed to see the guys that we do get, like you mentioned, Blue. Somourian Wingo, 4-star wide receiver. We just flipped Tyron Evans from Tennessee, an SEC school, 4-star wide receiver. We flipped Van Spafford, who was committed to Georgia, 4-star wide receiver. We flipped him over to us, but we're still complaining.
Jennings from Michigan. So
so I think bagging up, still asking some questions. So no one was content with the defense. That's why we fired the entire staff. So okay, yes. Were we taking good angles and physical? No. Everyone was scoring touchdowns on every drive, so we fired everyone. As far as the other side of the ball, number 1 offense in the country. What else do you want?
I think this year is going to be a big test.
It was the number 1 offense in the country.
Big test.
Our number 1 wide receiver hit the transfer portal and ended up in Alabama.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. It was the number 1 offense in the country, and so I understand people want, and Cam Ward obviously went 1 overall, and then we didn't have another offensive player drafted till I think Arroyo was, and then there was another big drop off. By the way, Arroyo is another one we developed into an NFL tight end, but so it's not just the offensive line, but
he may start for him.
He is going to start. I think they just
I saw they let go.
Yes, I think to start him, but
Noah Fant wanted more money, so they told him to go get it back at home.
We drafted a starting tight end, so but look, if the goal is to produce at the college level, which it is for these guys, then yes, our offense is fully developed. We're the number 1 offense in the country last year. There's nothing else you can really ask out of the offense. And the defense was bad enough that we fired everyone but Jason Taylor. So it's not that you're not raising points that are valid, but that's why we fired everyone. So
that's all you can
it'd be one thing if he brought the staff back. We'd be having a very different conversation. But he did action off of the performance.
As much as I hate him, right? Florida has had some really good defensive backs in the past. Will Harris has been a part of that development. Now he comes over here. You can bring in also Zach Etheridge, who's been able to develop guys, right? And Terry Jefferson, who developed guys at Jacksonville State and was here with recruiting, and we were able to bring in some guys. So you start changing, you start making some changes that are going to benefit the program. We got to give them a chance to be able to develop and see what Coach Heatherman is going to do with this team. So
yeah, and I mean that's a question mark, right? They haven't worked together, so we'll see. So yeah, if you want to say you want to see it, that's totally valid. But Mario obviously was not happy. That's why we fired everyone. So this is very different from 2 staffs ago where kept rolling the same defensive staff out there every year when the defense was terrible. He has been very, as Blue said, that's not going to happen here. He has been very active when he doesn't like something. The guys are gone. It's just, I mean, now if you keep doing that and you keep missing, then eventually you're gone. But it's very different than some of the problems we had in the past where we just keep rolling the same staff back out even when the performance wasn't there. He's been very, very active in terms of just, nope, if it's not working, I'm not wasting years. You're going, and he did that.
I know there's still a couple of things that Miami needs to fix in-house, behind closed doors. I get that. They still need to fix some things in order to get where they need to get to, but I think that they're doing, they're making the moves to get where they want to be. So real quick before we get into defensive line and linebackers, I'm sorry, I have to mention really quick for Blue, and then we'll move on. Blue, obviously this name had popped up earlier, but your thoughts on Cortez Redding coming up again on the radar as an option for Miami at safety. I know he's looking at Miami hard. There's a possibility he ends up in this class as well. What are your thoughts on Cortez Redding?
Yeah, good looking kid, safety, good hitter. Another Georgia kid, from Jonesboro, who I got a chance to watch them on film last year because they played. I think they played a team. I think they played Deerfield or Delray Atlantic. What's not to like about the guy? I mean, he's he's a hard hitter. He's got good ball skills. He runs with receivers. He'll knock. He just loves contact. I know that Indiana really liked him early on, and so did Ole Miss. But I think Miami ends up with him because of the fact that he's got an opportunity, to be one of those future guys, a guy who is going to learn a lot from some of the guys that are on hand here. He's got all the tools. The only thing he's lacking is getting some reps at the college level. He's got some quickness about him. Not a burner, but you don't really have to be. I think he's the type of guy, if a running back comes out of the backfield, he could get them. I think if a tight end does, runs any type of drag over the middle, he could come up and make the plays on him. He's physical, but he's got ball skills, and I would like to see him as part of the class. And from what I understand, I think they're going to get him.
We'll see what happens. Moving forward, we've got, speaking of talent and development, I think Miami going into this season, I don't think many people can complain or argue the fact that Miami's in a really good position on the defensive line. They've done a great job at recruiting. Now it's a matter of bringing in Damian Lewis and Jason Taylor together to do their thing. Obviously, Damian Lewis, a former Miami Hurricane, comes back from being over at Colorado and is an opportunity to teach his guys here, his fellow Cane brethren here, and develop some of these guys. Has done a really good job at the college level with guys at Colorado and now here. So we're really excited about what we see there. Of course, Coach Heatherman, coming from Minnesota, was a linebackers coach, right? That's his forte. So now he comes in and he's going to be the defensive coordinator / linebacker coach here at Miami. Gets an opportunity to develop linebackers the way he was able to at Minnesota. Had some pretty good guys up there. Had some guys drafted, some guys that play at a high level. Gets an opportunity here with some guys that are really talented. Some guys that maybe and Blue and DJ and Vish, all of us will probably say have maybe not played to the potential that we thought they should be playing at. But you see it. You just got to get it out of them. Can Coach Heatherman be the guy to do that? You want to start off with linebackers first, Vish. Just kind of looking at who we got at linebacker right now. There's plenty of guys that could be potentially on the field in the mix at the linebacker position / edge rusher type of guy, right? Talk to me a little bit, Vish, about your thoughts on the linebacker position. Where do you think they'll be? Who do you think are your starting guys, and then your guys that come in behind them, and maybe some developmental guys that could make some noise as well?
Yeah, I think my going in position is Wes and Popo. I think those are my guys. Popo hasn't been healthy; has been his biggest problem. But I like that rotation. I think they'll match each other well and play well off each other. I expect us to only play two. I expect us to be in a 2 linebacker primarily formation. So those are the ones that I kind of expect to start. Now I do think we have, to your point, Jazz. I don't think anyone's locked in as a starter. Although they did send Wes to Charlotte this week, so we'll talk more about that next week because they're doing all the media stuff tomorrow, which we're right on time as usual. So we'll have all that a week late next week, but when they do the media hits, so that's probably a pretty good indicator that they view Wes as a key player that they send to Charlotte with Carson Beck and all the kids that do media there for the kickoff. But I've really like Popo's flashed. He's never been healthy enough to really play consistently. When he has, he's been a difference maker. So looking forward to seeing him. Also, Traore, the guy we got from Troy from Rutgers. I mean, he's just has a long history of, and I'll throw this to DJ because he's seen him a lot more in the Big Ten. He was a tackling machine. Yeah, and you can't discount that. So yeah, DJ, if you want to answer Jazz's question on who you got starting, and also maybe comment on your Big Ten brethren.
Wait, DJ, before that, who's your surprise guy that maybe could come out and make some noise or maybe challenge some of these guys at the front?
Yeah, he played a little bit last year, but I liked what I saw from Cam Pruitt. I think he'll have an expanded role.
I like that.
So he's not brand new because he got towards the end of the year, especially start playing a lot more. I think he can definitely in pass coverage, especially impress me. I think he can be a playmaker.
Nice. DJ, your thoughts on the linebacker position?
Popo and West because I believe they're the most one of the most experienced groups on the linebacker unit, and then Torre is kind of interesting because, like Popo, it's about health with Torre, but I think he can bounce back and come back strong, and he already has familiarity with Heatherman, so that is a plus as well. When you look at this linebacker group, there is a lot of talent here. It's just about some of these players putting it all together. They've shown flashes, West, Popo, Torre, guys like that, but we haven't really, they've showed it at times. They haven't really been able to put it together consistently. So I'm looking to see, what this group can do when they're fully healthy, when many of them are familiar with this system already. So, I fully believe, and we've talked about this before, the linebacker position has been a source of frustration over the years for Miami, but I think this is one of the most complete groups we've had since we started the show.
So who are your starters then? You said Wes
and Popo.
Wes and Popo. Who's your kind of surprise guy that maybe can come in?
Torre.
Sorry, Torre.
If healthy.
Okay, fair enough. You know what? I'm kind of gonna jump in here before I let Blue finish because for me, this linebacker group, it's interesting to me, right? I right off the bat, like you mentioned, Vish, I think Wes is going to take a super huge leap this year. I don't know why. I just have the feeling that Wes to me is going to be the kind of guy that's going to be in there every single down, right? Because I feel like he's going to be able to cover out of the backfield. He's going to be able to go downhill. He's going to be able to play that zone, read the defense. Make tackles, make some really good plays. I think that West is going to make that leap, and he's going to have a giant super season this year.
I agree.
Speaking of downhill, I think Popo, if healthy, coming downhill is an absolute juggernaut. So I think that he can hurt some people really bad coming downhill. I think that his lateral stuff and everything else needs to kind of take a step up. So I do see him getting significant time, but I don't think you bring in a guy like Torre from the Rutgers. First of all, you have a great relationship with Greg Schiano over there. I'm sure Mario Cristobal spoke to him about Torre a lot to find out what his game was like. Heather gave him the green light. I think you bring in a guy like Torre to come in, and as you mentioned, DJ, if he's healthy, I think he's going to be the guy that's going to start next to Wes. But that second linebacker position to me is going to be the one that's going to be a little more turnstile per se. I think that for certain schemes, for certain formations, you're going to see something different there. Vish, you mentioned Cam. I think Cam, when it's passing downs, I think you might see Cam a little bit more because of his flexibility with his speed. He's a little lighter, so I think he's better at covering maybe some of these tight ends and some of these backs, coming out for passing downs. But then you also have guys like Chase Smith, who when it's third and pin your ears back, I want Chase Smith as my edge guy coming off the edge because he's an elite pass rusher when healthy, but he's also fast. He just hasn't been healthy for 4 years, so it's tough to evaluate a guy like that. We keep talking about him, 6'4", 240 pounds, but he's got to be on the field. So you've got a lot of guys right there. Obviously, we didn't even mention the kid from NC State, Kamal Bonner, who's going to come in and want some significant playing time as well. Another big-time kid that we got from NC State. Yeah. For me, though, and Fresh mentioned him, that's my surprise. My guy's going to sneak up on some people is Kellen Wiley, freshman coming in, linebacker. He's a big dude already, 6'4", 230, 240. He's another big guy that's going to come in and I think make some noise in that backfield as a linebacker. I can see him getting some significant playing time. I think he's a talented kid. So, I'll go with Wes and Torre, and then some of those other guys that I mentioned. And remember, you got guys that are going to develop like Zeke Marceline, who's still got some stuff to develop, and some other younger guys. Jalen Alderman is a guy that's been here already. He's a veteran, so look for him to get some special playing time. But some of those other guys are just going to have to develop. I don't know if Zeke will see the field too much, but that's my take on the linebackers. What about you, Blue?
I have nothing else to add. You got them all. I mean,
Sorry.
I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, before you got on, I have 4 guys, and you mentioned them all. But
Who are your 4 guys? Who doesn't matter.
Kellen Wiley, who I mentioned, Cam Pruitt, who you mentioned, Jalen Alderman, who you mentioned. But that's all right. And Chase Smith, but that's okay. Besides that, I think Wes and Popo. You didn't mention Bobby Washington Jr.
No, I
Okay,
didn't.
so there you go. So I got one in on your ass. So there you go. And all Darius Hayes, if he comes.
Oh yeah, man! Come on, man! What are you doing?
Yeah, but other than that, we mentioned all 11 of them. So if you're a fan out there, you miss nobody.
You miss somebody. Talk about them all. But you think the 2 guys that are going to start are Wes and
they should.
Yeah.
And I've been a Popo fan for the last couple of years because I just think he's a productive type of guy. And I remember when you and I were at their spring thing and we saw him when he was a freshman and we were, damn, look at the size of him.
Yeah, he's a big kid. You just got to stay healthy. If he stays healthy, coming downhill, I think it's going to be hard to stop that kid because he can lay the wood. So he's a big tough kid. Stay healthy and he could be special.
Yeah,
sure.
and I feel like the guys that we all mentioned, they can establish an identity within the linebacker group, physical downhill runners that can make tackles and get after the ball carriers. So it's been a while since this linebacker group has had some sort of identity, and I feel like this group of players can do it.
Yeah, I mean, a guy that's probably kind of like your hybrid guy from those guys is Malik Bryant. We haven't featured here in the defensive line. And Vish, starting with you really quick, if you want, on the defensive line. I know we spoke about, I just mentioned Malik Bryant. There's some other guys that are kind of in that hybrid look, like Herbert Scroggins, Hayden Lowe, and Booker Pickett. Some of those guys that can really rush the quarterback. But what are your thoughts on just the defensive line as a whole?
Yeah, I mean, so one of the reasons, and I put Malik Bryant there, right? He can also potentially play linebacker as like more of an edge rushing linebacker, but I view him as kind of playing, at least this year, his role. Obviously, I think Mesidor and Bain are going to start at defensive end. I don't think there's any real question about that, but they can both also move inside on obvious passing situations. That's where I think we'll see Malik Bryant on the field more. But, first and second down, I expect to see Bain and Mesidor getting a lot of snaps. Hopefully they're both healthy this year. And Mesidor's not out trying to cover a wide receiver in space. That would be nice. Still have PTSD. And then other than, like you said, Malik Bryant, I think he'll get in there. I think Armando Blunt will play, Lightfoot will play. So I'm looking at them. And then defensive tackle, I think Moten and Justin Scott are gonna start, and then after that, to me, it's a little bit of a question mark. Again, I think we might see Mesidor play inside a little bit because he might be our third best option at that position, but he's also one of our better defensive end options, and so that's where you might see maybe more of Malik Bryant playing, end and Mesidor sliding inside a little bit more. But that's kind of how I see it shaking out.
I'll tell you what, I think that you forgot about David Blake. Maybe you didn't forget about David Blake.
I did not forget about him, no.
I think they brought him in for the same thing, right? For the same reason. Like, he's had a good career at LA. Was it LA Tech that he was at, if I'm not mistaken? Louisiana Tech. He's a big kid that can kind of plug. I'm looking at maybe even him and Moten potentially being the 2 starters with Scott right there with him. I think Scott has put himself in the position to compete for that starting position because of his work ethic, what he's done in the offseason. Someone mentioned Scott is at 305. I mean, look, but he looks strong. He looks like he's shed some of that baby fat and gotten very strong. In the inside, it's tough to say, like you said, Vish. Aside from those 3, when you're in passing down, sometimes a Mesidor or a Bain coming inside is going to be your best option. But the fact of the matter is that this defensive line, for me, and I'll shoot it over to you, Blue, after this defensive line does not do anything without Ruben Bain on that field. If Ruben Bain is not on the field, Ruben Bain is the best player on this team, period. And don't at me on that, all right? Ruben Bain is the best player on the field. Obviously, there was a lot of issues last year with that defense, so I'll give everybody a pass with that. But he's shed some weight. He's gotten a little bit stronger. He's a first round pick in my mind. That defense needs to be predicated on Ruben Bain being the guy that draws the most attention, makes the most amount of plays, and helps everybody else on that line be successful. I think Cole McConaughey could be a big-time guy in this defense as well. Give him a shot to kind of run a little crazy on that line, and I think you got yourself an opportunity. I mean, obviously some of the other guys like Lightfoot and Booker Pickett would be great, but Blue, in my mind, it's going to run around Ruben Bain and obviously Mesidor on the other side, but the rest of that is throw them in there and let's go to work. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I definitely think that somebody like Mesidor he's going to play a lot inside. He's gained weight. He's strong. He's played more games than anybody on that field. He's experienced. He's a leader. He's while Bain from a talent standpoint is a guy you can't do without. If Mesidor's not around, that hurts because he's a communicator and he takes kids off to the side and he talks to them and he's a leader. I think Armando Blunt's going to get a lot of play this year because he's very physical. He's got great size. I think my surprise on the front, I think Hayden Lowe's going to get some play. I think he's going to show how athletic he is and why everybody in the country wanted him. I think my defensive tackle, I like Ahmad Moten. I like Justin Scott a lot. I think Dante Simpson comes in towards the middle. He's the biggest. He'll be the strongest. And all he needs is experience. So I'm going to leave a couple of other guys because DJ, I know you'll mention a few guys that I didn't mention, I'm sure.
What do you got, DJ? Talk to me.
I was going to say something about Ruben Bain. He may not always get the sacks and he may not always make the big plays, but he forces offensive lines and the entire opposing offense to game plan around him and game plan against him almost. So that frees up opportunities for some of the other guys. I really like Moten. I think, he's been kind of that rock for the defensive line. And he's really been able to come in and kind of, be consistent and, he's going to put up numbers, he's going to fill his role. And then I really like, Justin Scott. I think he can kind of come in and, get his feet wet and continue to play, at a high level and continue to add to the defensive line. He's extremely athletic, good football player, good instincts. So overall, I like how this defensive line shapes out. I just need to see a little bit more than last year, and I think we're going to.
Yeah, I think the difference between last year and this year, I mean, there's only one way to go, man. We were so bad. There's only, we got to go up from there.
Well, last year was just an egregious misuse of talent. I mean, I don't know what else you want. I think the kids definitely deserve some.
I mean, we're missing guys too. Right?
Yeah, you had to.
We're missing some guys, but also just like the way we used our players wasn't good, and again, some of that is on the players themselves as well.
Yeah,
I mean, we saw that in
injuries.
Think about how Tyler Barron started the year, and then they stuck him in the witness protection program by the end of the year. And,
yeah.
And there were definitely like he got exposed a little bit as team started attacking him, but he was still very good at getting to the pass rusher. It's an easy situation where you're getting long yardage. Have him just be a situational pass rusher. We never did that. When he got in against Iowa State, he did rush the passer and whiffed on what would have been a sack, right? And he plays like 5 plays and pressures the quarterback 4 times. It's like, hey, maybe we could have used that. I don't know, against Syracuse, and they kept converting. When they kept converting third and long, it felt like we kind of ran out of ideas, and so
Well, I think what happened was that Guidry was trying to run out of Miami. What he was trying to do. So,
and it's also worth noting that like Heatherman's defense is at Minnesota. They always had strong defensive line play. Whether it was clogging the middle on, rushing lanes, whether it was trying to at least, close the pocket in, strong defensive line play was always a focus. And that's how the Gophers were able to churn out some NFL-type corners as well, right? Because a good defensive line makes life easy for the corners. So I'm confident that he'll be able to get the most out of these guys.
Wasn't Antoine Winfield there when he was there?
Yep.
It was, right? I mean, we all know how good he is in the NFL. Junior, of course. So yeah, I know that they've been able to turn out some guys. That's a tough conference that they play in, man.
Yep.
So
especially with 35 teams now, and then now it's even tougher.
Unbelievable. As I mentioned, man, we only got about 40 days left before what is it? 7 Sundays to go, I think it is. I'm sorry, 7 Saturdays.
Sunday.
Technically, it's a Sunday because we do start on a Sunday night, August 31st, and we I think all of us will be there except DJ. So we got to figure out.
I'll be watching.
We might have to get together and get you a flight down here or something. I don't know.
Hey, I wouldn't mind a flight to Miami. Sign me up.
Figure it out, man. Shit, you need to hang out. with me.
No, I'm totally down.
And
maybe for an Orange Bowl appearance.
Yeah,
right. January.
Listen, national titles in Miami in 2026. So
I
think that Miami should be ready for that. Hopefully, we got a lot of stuff still to cover regarding positions. I think next week we will dive into some of the offense as we get closer. Then we will start doing predictions and we'll start doing.
I mapped it out, which is why we did linebackers and defensive. So we got offensive line, and then wide receivers and tight ends we'll do together. Then running backs, then schedule prediction, and then
quarterback.
Quarterback
and kickers.
I think Carson Beck is going to start.
Are you sure about that?
I don't know.
Emory Williams.
Oh man, I don't want to talk about it. The rest of that room, right?
According to everybody, he's garbage, right?
Yeah, we'll have to fit special teams and quarterbacks in somewhere, but then main show will be like a schedule predictions, our prediction show, and then the week after that the Notre Dame preview show, and then
I can't believe it. Man. I really can't.
It's go time.
Hey, listen, I'm just
it is 5 shows, I believe.
I'm gonna put this out there. You know, okay. I think that Notre Dame is a hell of a football program this year. I think they're loaded.
Yeah.
They got a great team over there. They've got some question marks that I can't wait to talk about on the show. It doesn't get much better.
Yeah.
Miami, Notre Dame. I can't wait for that.
So many good games in the opening week too, overall for college football. So that's good for the fans.
There definitely is. So we'll go over that and so much more. Blue, I think you're the man. I appreciate you coming on again, man. Talking some recruiting and some football.
Well, what have you got for us, Blue? You got something? Got some?
Yep.
Oh, baby, show and tell. Let's do it.
Little 1990 comeback.
Ooh, that is.
Little Craig Erickson on the front.
That was
got a little bit of Russell Maryland. You got Maurice Crum on the front here.
That is a 3-year period in which the Canes won the championship in 89, 91. I think the 90 team is the most famous for that Cotton Bowl performance.
What the great things are now is the inside, because they got loads of pictures like Leonard Conley, a little flashback of Leonard Conley there. Tough little running back, if you guys remember back in the day. I'm not showing Brian Forte, no way, no how. Here's Randall Thrill Hill. Love Randall Hill. And this was a good media guy because it gave some really good pictures in. Not to say that this little cheerleader ain't bad, but that's other than that. Wait, there was another picture I wanted to show you here. Where was it? Hey, there he is. Roland Smith, who's now on staff.
Hey,
Roland's, but that's it. I've been going through a lot of stuff. I'll have some more stuff as we get closer. I just my schedule's been busy. I was out of town, been out of town a lot.
Yeah.
But the media days, if I could talk real quick, was real good. I got a chance to sit down with Darian Coleman for a couple of minutes and talk to him. I'll tell you what, he's gotten a little bit taller. So that's that was the first thing my friend asked me. He was a big Miami fan. He says, "Did he get any taller?" He did. I saw Reese Woodrow, and really nice guy, very strong. Miami's getting and he's a good kid. And as I said, His parents run a beef place, so they had Alex Donna went over there and got a roast beef sandwich. And see what else. Yeah, it was a good time. Got to see 100-something schools I saw Lakeland, I saw Cocoa. I saw some of the, all the Orlando schools. Edgewater's got some cats, and yeah, so I did that, and then we got a combine this Saturday in Miami. It's a crib combine. Jose Duaso's guys. I heard you on some show last week there, Jazz. Some Friday thing. Were you on like some podcast? Somebody told me they saw you on a podcast or something. Question and answer. I think it flows on it. No,
I wasn't on it.
Thought they said that Jazz Santana was on something, but
how many Jazz Santanas are there? That is now the new question.
Yeah, another Jazz Santana.
I
but
might
for
be
you,
on one, or maybe I might be on one. I know Flo's doing, and shout out to the Flo team. I know they're doing, their annual like what Coach Hayes does as well, where they're bringing on, people from the different networks. So
okay, good.
Kind of preview the season and whatnot. So I know one of us,
multiple
of us will be on. I know Vish has been on a couple of those in the past with me. I think it was the Coach Hayes one last year. I think we were on it together. And I know that Coach Hayes is gonna do one, and Flo as well. Coach Hayes does that damn marathon. That's crazy.
Coach Hayes does like a 24
Yeah,
hour.
it's crazy.
Yeah, no thanks, but
You gotta get on early, not late. If you hit that, I think we closed it out one year, and it was bad by that point, man.
Like 4 a.m. and you guys were.
I think the last one was what? Vish was like 11 to 12 or something like that, right?
Yeah,
we closed it
nice
out
time
year.
slot.
We closed it out one year, and it was.
That's
but
crazy.
I did have just for you Hurricane brief baseball fans, I had Antonio Jimenez on our show tonight on our radio show.
Oh,
Do you still claim him? What's the ruling on Jimenez?
Did he sign?
Huh?
Did he sign?
Yeah, he's in Port St. Lucie, 3rd round draft pick for the Mets. Actually, a second pick because they didn't have a first.
Out of UCF though, so I don't know if we could.
Yeah, I know, but he did play a year in Miami, and he's from Archbishop McCarthy. But yeah, so he's off to his start. He's first day today. He told me so. That's it. So
all right, everybody. We'll be back with more football next week. Maybe some baseball. We're gonna hold off on Kings on Deck. We've got some more information.
Yeah, we debated whether to do a show today or maybe hold it next week. Decided to hold it next week. Maybe
all right.
They're still looking in the portal for some kids, so we want to do a full ass like roster preview. So we don't want to do that and then we're like, oh, new starting pitcher or whatever, and then
right.
It'll be fun. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a pleasure, and we'll see you next Monday. Make sure you follow us on Twitter or X at Six Rings Canes. Also on all your podcasts, wherever it is you get your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, everywhere. Make sure you check us out. Subscribe to the 5 Reasons Canes podcast on, as I mentioned, on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, but also the 5 Reasons Sports Network on YouTube. Subscribe there. Check us out. Go search 6 Rings Canes. And watch us every Monday at 8:30 p.m. right here on YouTube and, of course, on your local podcast. So we will see you guys next Monday. And adios.
Okay.
Go Canes.
Go Canes.
The 6 Ring Cane Show. Yeah. The 6 Ring Cane Show. Yeah. The 6 Rings Cane Show. You know.